really kind of the ideal situation you get to sometimes, where you can frame the fundamental question up in a political campaign in a way so that you're the only answer. When you do that, you've struck the mother lode. It was the Sunday morning of our convention in North Carolina. On the morning talk shows, if you've ever watched those, some of you may have, right? Ed Rendell, the former governor of Pennsylvania, keep in mind, we're now 4 years out from a financial crisis that has still obliterated people's economic lives. And he gets asked on a show, so can you say to Americans that people are better off today than they were 4 years ago? And Rendell just fumbled the question. We had not anticipated the question. Whoever was prepping him hadn't. He had no answer for it, and he fumbled away. And we're sitting in the basement of the convention center, and it's now everybody is being asked that all day Sunday. In the convention center in North Carolina, a guy named Larry Grisolano, who was one of the most brilliant thought partners I've ever had on a campaign. He now runs David Axelrod's former media company here in Chicago. We're sitting in the basement trying to figure out how are we going to come back at this, right? We knew from all of our data and research, there's no way you could convince people they were better off than they were 4 years ago. They've been battered by this crisis. They were more worried about falling behind than getting ahead. They felt they were still being treated unfairly. You know, their companies had been hurt. I wanted them to make a profit, but I'm only getting a 25-cent raise. Luckily, in our world, we can go into the field like that. We can do it for corporate clients too, which we've done in crisis situations. But Larry and I finally came up with a simple construct of a forced choice question that night that we were going to ask people, and we typically get 300 to 400 people a night in those days when you could still do it on the phone, even in 2012, right? Which is going to be more important to your vote for president this November? Whether your life is better off than it was 4 years ago, or who will make your life better 4 years from now? The backwards look versus the forward look. Remember I said before, elections are usually about the future, not the past. And that's how we arrived. Overwhelmingly, people said that they were going to vote for who would make their lives better 4 years from now. So we took what the Romney campaign had pounced on and thought was going to be their winning message, and we basically pivoted and turned the question around in a way that made Obama the only answer, because everything economically that they were after was what Obama was offering in terms of standing up to special interests, cracking down on lobbyists, saying they wouldn't be in his White House.
So a corporate example of how do we frame the question so that your brand is the only answer. Campbell's Soup Company, another client of ours, they were about to launch a new product, which at the time they were calling Select Harvest. The objective of the product was to go after and compete directly with Progresso Soup. At the time, Progresso Soup was the leading brand in the ready-to-serve soup category aimed at women. And what was interesting to us, in the focus groups, we were hearing over and over again, people weren't surprised that Select Harvest was 100% natural. That wasn't the key thing for them. It was that Progresso wasn't. It was that Progresso was using MSG, and Progresso was using artificial ingredients and flavors. And that led us to this campaign of 100% natural. We reframed the question for consumers. So it was, do you want a product that's 100% natural, or do you want a product that's full of artificial ingredients and artificial preservatives and chemicals and MSG? And it ended up being Campbell's Soup's most successful product launch in their 100-plus year history.